I think I'll just go ahead and start myself. So my intentions, are to get through this agenda on time as my second call that I'm leading for the week. And I don't have any distractions today, fully focused, excited to talk with all of you. I will write that down as I pass this on to Ashley.
Hi. My intentions for the call, just to sync up. I'll admit I didn't have a chance to look at my issues, and I'm really sorry. And my distractions are I'm hungry, and I think that's it. I will pass it to Jake.
Yeah, intentions, just continue to listen in and take what we just learned from the amazing strategy session and bring it into the comms call. Distractions, just a little tired today. And I will pass it on to Kotabe.
Thanks, Jake. Do you hear me well, or is it too noisy in the background?
We hear you.
Okay, great. My intention is to sync up, see how can I help, and distractions is just a bit. It's loud here. I hear you perfectly, but sometimes you might not. But we'll make it work. I'll pass it to Rogan.
Thanks, Kadai. My intentions for the call are to, I'm particularly excited about the Twitter brainstorm. And other than that, I'm just here to sync up on all the issues and update everything on the board and hang out with you all. And I'm not distracted, except my internet is kind of garbage. So that's maybe going to be an obstacle. I will pass it to Mitch.
I'm using Griff's computer, so of course the mute button is always stuck. I'm here to talk about some updates I want to make to our documentation. And that's it. My distraction is I am using someone else's computer, so I'm lost. And I will pass it to
I think you cut off before you said a name.
Nicola.
Oh, Nicola.
I knew it was going to be me. Well, hi, guys. My intentions are just to sync up with you, hang out with you, feel a little bit better because my distractions are that, for hours, this whole morning, I've been trying to off-ramp my crypto, and I've been hitting one blockage after another, and it's really, really frustrating. Anybody who wants to help me, please reach out. But thank you, Clara. You're already helping me. So, that's it for now, and I'm gonna pass it to Suga.
Suga, are you there? Okay, maybe somebody else wants to go for now. Okay, do you want to go? Oh, sorry. Didn't want to cut you off. Suga, there's something wrong, I think, with your audio. See, your box is flashing, but there's nothing coming out sound-wise. Maybe you want to exit and re-enter. Yeah, that's not okay. Who wants to go? Who wants to jump in?
I'll go ahead and go. I'm here to get to know a little bit more about the PFP project. I'm curious to see if I might be able to help with the videos on the 101 course. And I'm distracted because my wiggles are kicking in and there's an ant on the bed walking around.
Okay. Do you want to pass it to somebody?
pass it to the person who just said me.
Hey, that's me, Suga. Suga. So, hi. Usually if I have my video on, it's a bummer. So I hope you can hear me now. So I'm sorry I can't share my video. Are you hearing me? Good. Okay. Right. Intentions catching up. Sadly, I did not see your beautiful faces live last week, but I did listen to the call. So yeah, just catching up and hopefully going through some of the issues, such as I would love to maybe make some ground on that Gitcoin outreach list that we've been trying to attack. You know, that big whopping list we've got of projects to reach out to. And yeah, so distractions are it's the bummer part of the day. It's the end of the day here, so there's a lot going on, but I'm here. And I'll pass it to Kotabe.
Tabe already went.
Oh, what a bad luck.
Maybe
Okay, Jake.
Jake also already went. Rainer, you want to jump in?
Oh no! Charm. All right, I'm gonna go for Jake.
I can go, Suga. Don't worry. Okay, my intention is basically to catch up because I wasn't here last week and I need to be back in the loop. And my distraction is that it's pouring rain outside and my children have not come back yet. So they must be out there somewhere. They return safely. And I don't know who to pass on. I need your help, Corey.
Who we got here? Claire. Yeah, Claire. Oh, seems like you're on mute somehow.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Fabulous. Sorry about that. Thanks, Corey. Thanks, Rainer. Hi, everyone. So my intentions today are to catch up with everybody and to sync up with what everybody's been doing this week, and also to discuss a little bit about the initial strategy for Facebook outreach that Corey and I have been working on. And I have some gardening going on outside and some family visiting downstairs, so I'm a little bit distracted by some of the noise. I'm going to switch on to mute now in case it's distracting you too.
Hey, Claire, your name is with AIR, right?
Yes.
Okay. Just want to make sure.
IIE. Has anybody not gone? I didn't pass it. Over to you, Jessie.
I don't know who just said yeah, but your audio went out. Oh, okay. Yes. 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 Now.
Yeah, I can hear you.
I haven't gone yet. I might be the last one. Intentions just sync up and see where we are with the other 101 videos for the project. And I always have some distractions, but nothing in particular. That's just how I am. So that's it. I think I'm the last one. So
yeah.
I just joined in a bit late. It's hey
Okay,
guys.
right on time. Intentions and distractions for today.
I'm a bit distracted because I've got connectivity issues. I'm just going to switch a little bit. But it's nice to see all of you. And my intentions just to catch up and share a bit of the two tasks that I'm on and that we'll be doing for the next few days, and just hear what everyone else is up to. And that's it. I'm definitely the last one, I think.
Okay.
So I'll pass it back to you, Corey.
Yeah, thanks. Cool. Yeah, we can go ahead and jump into the agenda. Thanks, everybody. And actually, someone had just a few minutes ago mentioned, yeah, okay, you said you wanted to hear more about the PFP project. and also talk about the 101 course. I think we've talked about the PFP project a few times in previous meetings. I'm not really synced up on that too much. What was it exactly that you wanted to hear about? Okay, maybe we can touch on it briefly.
I think what it is for me is it sounds like from Lauren that the Giveth is new to the PFP sort of NFT space, and I was curious to see if there was some sort of comm strategy tied into the use of the PFPs and the NFT sort of announcement. So from that side of it.
Yeah, can someone jump in here to answer that?
I have scheduled a call with Santix because I also can like want to have an update and just talk about it. I can keep you on the loop and maybe we can have that call together. Okay, I'll send me a DM and yeah, I'll tell you when it's going to be that meeting.
Cool, I could do that. Thank you.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I think we'll like the project owners 101 course for sure is going to be a big topic. So maybe I'm going to skip over that for a minute and we'll circle back to that definitely to talk about that. Just like a really quick update on the agenda that I'll just mention is we've scheduled a call with Mike, who was introduced to us last week. We're going to do the call on Thursday evening European time or like afternoon Eastern Standard Time. Mike is a TikTok influencer who's also seems to be pretty like knowledgeable about the refi space or regeneration in general. So Sim was able to make the call. I'm able to go, and Lauren and Claire. So it seemed like, okay, kind of just the best option to get something in before ETH Barcelona. So we're going to sync up with him and talk about influencer outreach strategy and get some like guidance from his perspective as probably like an ideal influencer for us. So that's going to happen on Thursday. And yeah, regarding maybe we could, Claire, would you want to give a quick update on the Facebook strategy? Based on our call last week,
Suga seems to be trying to say something on the influencers. I could see her waving her hand.
Can you? Thanks. Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah.
Real quick.
Yes, absolutely.
Hear me? Okay. Yeah. So thanks for that. I just had two questions real quick about that with Mez, Mike. One is actually, if it is at that time, the funny thing is it's a short meeting, right? I can come to that for 30 minutes. If it's actually at CET 3 p.m. But the thing is, I was re-looking at the doodle and I just wanted to double check that's accurate because from what it looked like on the doodle, it was the 9 p.m. time that everybody agreed to. So I didn't know if you put 9 p.m. and then you said, or it was 9 p.m., but then you wrote 9 a.m.
The time? Maybe I was just working too fast and wrote something wrong. So the doodle was definitely 3 p.m. Eastern time.
Okay.
Which is 9 p.m. Central European Standard Time.
Okay, so you wrote 9 a.m., I believe. I believe on Discord it says 9 a.m., I think.
That's just me. There were too many numbers in front of me. So I meant to write 9 p.m. Yeah.
So it's 9 p.m. Eastern time?
No. It's 3 p.m. Eastern time. Sorry. Which is 9 p.m. CEST.
Okay. So, yeah. Just check. Good. I'm glad. Well, in that case, we'll see. I could maybe pop in. I mean, I'll try to come to that. It's just super late, but that's okay. Either way. But maybe just update that on the influencer channel.
I'll update that and I'll add you to the invite because it's a Google Meets call. So
yeah, groovy. Okay, thanks.
Yeah, and then you can decide. Okay, yeah, no, thanks for highlighting that. I'll go back and correct it after this call. Perfect. Yeah. Claire, do you want to give a quick update on the Facebook?
Yeah, I can do. I'd like to. Thanks. So Corey and I met last week to discuss the Facebook page. Giveth has had a Facebook page for some time, but it's not really been very active. And we know that a lot of projects hang out on Facebook, and consequently they have donors that go with them that follow their pages. So we're exploring to see how much awareness and education we can gain and discover through the Facebook page. So when we got together, we had a brainstorm and felt that our target audience on the Facebook page would be donors and project owners. And the main purpose of our content would be for awareness, education, sort of basic education, and seeking out new donors and building trust in the Giveth brand. We felt that mainly some of our content might be best placed to address some of the quotes and questions from our own experience. So from my project background, when we started raising funds with Giveth, for example, a lot of our stakeholders and trustees within our charity were very mistrustful of crypto. And what about, is it entirely legal? Is it traceable? What will our donors think? So that was the first sort of area of communication. And Corey also had sort of some quotes from her experience from donor side of things. And our first steps are going to be to see what existing content we have within the Giveth catalogue that we can start to post on the Facebook page to get some kind of activity and momentum going. And then the next steps will be to develop our outreach strategy. Is there anything you'd like to add to that, Corey?
No, I think that's pretty great. Yeah, it was just coming down to, I mean, I think we got a good base for like what type of content would be most useful in that platform, and like, yeah, really leveraging it to speak to like one-on-one on both sides. I think the trust building part is like really important, especially at that level. And yeah, and if anyone has any, like, if anyone comes across some content that they think like, okay, this would be perfect, like speaking at that level, feel free to shoot it over to us so we can just keep adding it to that list. Because then, yeah, I think like definitely like the first hits would be just to like take that and split it up into like digestible posts, which is like really, should be a really easy start to kicking it off.
I think it sounds great. In the some of the content that I put together previously might be suitable or tweakable to go on Facebook. I can send you screenshots from what we put up on Plannable, and we can maybe use that as just ideas. Those were taken from some other platforms that are similar to us, so we can use that as a base and then create content for the next few weeks. I'm happy to share that.
Yeah, that'd be, yeah, absolutely. That sounds great.
Cool.
Yeah, cool. Anyone else have something to add to that? Otherwise, I'll go to the next topic. Okay, cool. Yeah, strategy document, content planning, actually, I think we just left it up there for reference. Also, I was thinking actually putting the strategy document into like a more like central part of the Notion here, like maybe under just like communications working group, because I think it's a pretty central document for like, yeah, communications in general, and then we can always know where to find it. So if you guys agree with that, that was kind of, I was mentioning that to Lauren yesterday. And then everyone can reference that like on a regular basis. What do you guys think?
I'm sorry, putting it where?
So under the communications working group, like in Notion, just kind of on the main page, like having the strategy document there, since it's like communication strategy.
I think that's a great place for it with the goals of the circle or the group and the mission and all that stuff. Like, I think it's a perfect place.
Okay, cool. Because I was also thinking about myself. I'm like, if I don't bookmark this right now, like, where do I find it? And yeah, just having it sit on the agenda, like, yeah. Okay, cool. So moving this.
Yeah, and I think it's a great idea to use Notion as like our kind of our internal documentation. We've been using the Giveth Docs as like our external facing documentation, and Notion is kind of like where we would put like our internal documentation. Not that it's secret or private or anything, it's still public, but just to make that separation.
Yeah, I think Notion's a great like hub for documents to reference internally. For sure. Okay, cool. Also regarding documentation, Lauren had mentioned this for the agenda also, like the contributor onboarding documentation for the comms group. I understand that like this is a topic, and I kind of put there in parentheses like this onboarding email because when I started, I received this pretty extensive email from Giveth that outlined like literally everything I could possibly think to ask for Giveth. I found it to be like pretty extensive and like really, really explanatory and outlining like all the tools, all the platforms, like all the things to sign up for, like all the things to use. And even like highlighting important calls in this type level of detail. And I think like this could probably be used and modified pretty quickly to be a little bit more specific to communications contributors. So I don't know how long that issue has been outstanding in terms of creating onboarding documents for comms contributors, but I think we have like a really good base with that email, if that would work for you. Suga. Oh, you're muted somehow. I can't hear you. Sorry. Still not hearing anything. Sorry, Suga, nothing's coming through. Does anyone else have a comment on that?
No?
Maybe.
Okay, so yeah, I'm actively working on that document, and I'm nearly finished. It was put on the back burner numerous times. I don't have that email. Could you forward me that email? I never got that wonderful sounding email. But yeah, that you know what? I will find right now the issue number for that, just so you can, or maybe I'll just tag you, Corey, just so you can. I don't know if you are tagged on that, but just so you can see what's going on with that.
Yeah, do that, please. And I'll link to the email, or I'll put it in a doc or something. Obviously, it must be somewhere in Giveth already, like stored somewhere, because I guess they're shooting this out to new contributors. But like, I can just share the one that I have. Okay, perfect. Right, and the newsletter for this month. Is there anything that we want to add to this actually? Because like that needs to get that's being finalized to go out, right?
Yeah, I was hoping a mod would be here, but maybe I'll just DM him
that's
about
right.
it. I mean, yeah. Unless anybody else has anything else to add to it, he already did create a draft, and I'll just there's just like one link outstanding, but
now I remember we weren't sure.
Ahmad's on vacation for these 2 weeks, so I'm not sure if he's going to be able to join.
Yeah, but he said he'll be still doing the newsletter.
Okay.
Okay, that's what it was, right? Because we weren't sure if he might be like still in the first couple days this week or something. Okay, perfect. And all right. So we're going through all that, and okay, there's a couple other things here, like So actually, maybe just go straight to the Twitter brainstorm. It's not necessarily, I'd say, for today, but definitely wanted to bring it up as a topic. Because Lauren and I were talking about the Twitter yesterday a bit, and also the cases where, I don't know, doing, especially in the realm of content planning for all these platforms, like Twitter is also one. And it would be really interesting, or I think it would be actually like very effective if we as like a comms working group also did some regular brainstorming on like what would be good posts to have on Twitter for the sake of like also planning it out in advance. Because I think, like, Lauren, correct me if I'm wrong, but like a lot of that is at the moment like being managed just by you. And we as like a collective group of people here are probably coming across like all kinds of different things constantly through our networks on the industry. And so maybe it's something that we could implement also as part of our like writing an agenda every week on these calls, is also if there's like ideas that we have within the group of what would be like really great to have on the Giveth Twitter, that we just add them each week. Like if somebody has an idea, and I think collectively between all of us, we should probably have a couple of things every week that way generated to help out.
I think it's a great idea.
Yeah,
Is there
I
a
totally
central
agree.
place? Sorry,
Oh,
go
sorry,
ahead.
go ahead. No, you go ahead. I'll go after you.
I was wondering if there's a central place that you want some ideas to be added, even if they're then, tweaked by people who are good at copy.
Yeah, I think like for starters, if we just take like a quick few minutes in the comms call, like on a weekly basis, we can just kind of like add them in the Notion. And if we want to have like another document for it, I can just create a Notion doc that's like the universal Twitter thing, and we can just like add the ideas in there. Yeah, I could do that if that would be useful. But I think like just for starters, I mean, yeah, I used to look for more like input on the Twitter, but like didn't really get a ton of input, and it was mostly just me maintaining documents that I was the only person using, so it didn't make any sense. But like, yeah, we can create a central place for people to add more content. But yeah, maybe for now, like we could just kind of like have a moment for anybody to like add any, like make any suggestions of things that they're noticing that should be tweeted about. And actually, I have one question. So with this, the token log we're doing for project nominations, I was planning on sharing it out, and we talked about it briefly in the Connect working group call last week, but I don't know. So are we going to actively use this now? Should I like try to encourage people to nominate projects and kind of explain that on Twitter? And is that something I should do this week?
I thought that was the idea when the issue was first created, and then I saw comments recently from Melody that seemed to say that we don't need to use this. We just use a Discord channel. So there was a little bit of confusion, at least on my part, the last time I read the issue. But I mean, we went through all these steps and we set up the token log. I don't understand why we wouldn't just use it and have a combination of both the Discord channel and the token log. I think that the last thing we were waiting on was for a review from the Connect group to give us like the thumbs up that this is what we were hoping for. Go ahead and implement it. But as far as I can tell, it's ready to be shared on Twitter.
Claire or Rainer, do you guys have any objections or anything to add to that?
No, not at all. I think we had one last exchange when we talked about sort of the last details of the phrasing of the questions, but I think that's like 2 weeks ago, so I think we're fine. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So I can share that out. And then I guess moving on from that, are there any other things that you guys want to have shared on Twitter throughout this week? Cool. Well, I'll create a Notion doc and put it in the comms channel if any other ideas like come up later, and we can kind of move on from this.
Hey, Lauren, one question. For me, it's super. It's. I use way more Discord than Notion. Will it make sense to have like somewhere in Discord? I mean, I can adapt, of course, but I'm just saying like it's not only me. And it could be easy just to like propose something to say something on Twitter somewhere on our Discord. This is just just a proposal.
Yeah, okay, well, we can also just use the Twitter channel then on Discord. I mean, it was one of the ideas of how to use that channel. So maybe I won't create a Notion, and then instead, if you have any ideas, put them in the Twitter channel.
I think that's great. Should we tag? Sorry, we all have a Discord role, the ones that are kind of like more on Twitter. Or should we tag someone?
Yeah, you can tag me.
I think that's cool because, like, at the end of the day, it should just be as things come to mind, or you read something on Twitter, or you're like, okay, this is like really relevant, just like throw it somewhere easy that where it's like collecting, and yeah, just feeding it. And I mean, I know that like this meeting is already kind of tight with an hour, and like always having an agenda and the board to go through and everything. So sitting like brainstorming on Twitter as well is a little difficult, but like that stuff like comes around throughout the week. So it's just like I think that would help out a lot, and as things pop up, like throw it in there, and I think that will I think ideally also like we can plan out content for the next couple months. It's going to be like all the platforms, and ideally also Twitter. So if we can stockpile on that, that would be great. Okay, so adding ideas into Twitter as they come, and then maybe we'll just try to do a little check-in on it every week in this meeting as a reminder, and would be awesome if you guys can contribute to that. So yeah, another thing is just want to also briefly get your feedback on this idea. So as I'm kind of like starting to take over these calls and getting to know GitHub and like looking through issues, it just became apparent to me that like it's really like, as someone new kind of coming in, like I realized it's quite difficult to understand the priority of things based on the current setup of GitHub, because it doesn't really tell you much unless you're like in those issues yourself in terms of like what the urgency is around all of these topics. So I had this idea, and I'd love to just like actually just get straightforward feedback on what you think of looking to implement some sort of time frame into the issues. In the sense of like whoever's creating the issues or actually like assigned to the issues is the one who can determine also the timeline on it, and provide some sort of estimated date of completion, depending on, I mean, that's going to be basically up to the person who understands how long that issue would take to do and what a reasonable timeline is, and depending on who the people are working on it, right, and what their capacity is for it. But I think this would help a lot in terms of us starting to prioritize the tasks a little bit better, and having other people have an understanding looking at the board of like when things are probably going to get done, other than just literally asking people or like pinging the follow-up. And I would personally suggest like implementing it, like I said, from the person who's working on the issue, and then if they're running late on the deadline, that they also then update it, right? So with and they're going to update the issue anyway and explain why it's taking longer, like, or that they need more resources or need more help with it. What do you think of that? I heard that the product team is using this. I think it might be helpful.
I can think of 3 things that I'd like to say. Yeah, the development team, they use what they call story points that they assign, so it kind of like indicates the amount of bandwidth that it will take for you to complete that task, and I think that there's a system already in GitHub for assigning story points. Second, I wanted to say that I think that there is a label in there already called Prioritize Me. So if we're creating issues that have a higher priority, we already have a way to signal that. And the third thing that I wanted to say is a lot of times I notice that my estimate, what I give at the beginning, never actualizes to be what it is at the end, because I always run into like these hurdles, or like something that opens up a different like can of worms, or something that I didn't realize I would run into and causes a whole lot of research or something like this. So for me personally, it seems difficult to give accurate estimates for like a time or a date. But I think it's a good idea to keep it in consideration, to keep things moving efficiently and to keep people in the loop.
could I add to that also? I think that's great in both of you, like Corey and Ashley. Just to add to that, what Lauren's also been trying to help with, I think Zen Hub is amazing. And if we can just really get more used to using it more efficiently, each of us individually. So I'm not necessarily sure that we need like a new, as you were trying to propose, Corey, any kind of a new label or something. But if we could really use it, move things along in the different through the different columns and with the different labels, and always follow up with, which we've been talking about a lot more recently, like following up with what's the latest on your issue before the meeting, today's meeting, so that everybody can, just like basically keeping your issues up to date, up to date, up to date. Like not using them just to chat about the issue, but to use it as a form of communication so that everybody's on the same page as to what's going on.
Yeah. I totally hear you on that, and like I agree with that. I think the way I was thinking about the timelines is the timelines kind of serve as a kind of a reminder also, like for the person working on it, that like, hey, I estimated this would take 3 weeks. Wow, 3 weeks already went by. And yeah, but no, I mean, I understand both of your points, and that's why like it's not something I would just want to like blanket implement. It's more yeah, I can see it being helpful for like people working on the actual issues, like okay, like for time management and yeah, and then also for managing the board itself, like anyone looking at it and trying to understand what else like the team is working on, and that we as a team collectively also like assign urgency to things. But yeah, I did see that label actually today, like hey, this is urgent, or there's some like it like shows up in red. So I haven't seen that used much, but it's true. There's that label, which would also serve that purpose. So I mean, if collectively like you'd rather not have it, then that's not something that I would push forward. But I've used it a lot, and I come from the sales world where we use everything with like time estimates to keep ourselves on track. And we very often do have to push them out, like for sure. But then you also like see over time, like things get pushed out a lot because maybe like one person is assigned to this thing that's actually like takes a long time to do, and it would be more effective if in the future we assign like multiple people to this. Like it helps to like analyze why things are going slowly, kind of, but yeah, we can, I mean, can we take a vote on this topic, or like what do you suggest would be the best way to proceed with the idea?
I'll let other folks give feedback. I have one more thing to say, just because, as an aside, while I'm writing this comms contributor guide, that's something that I could write in more specifically, like, and when you create or when you join an issue, to give some sort of timeline. But I don't know, maybe somebody else can share their point of view.
Yeah, I think just everyone effectively updating is already like a big thing. I think it's just signaling also then like when, I don't know, for in the case of like we're doing, just an example, we're doing content planning and we have all these issues like to create content, or like the 101 course now that we're going to talk about. Like how do we get any indication across the comms working group like when it's going to be done? Other than like assigning dates in a call, like, okay, we need to have this course completed by the end, mid-July. So is that how you guys have handled it in the past? Like if something needs to get executed by a certain deadline?
Lauren, are you there? Because I think that there is kind of like unwritten, I guess, guideline that if something is in like the in progress, or it should be 2 weeks or something like that. If we talk about like 2-week sprints, I don't know if that's part of the unspoken format.
Yeah,
usually
I mean, Oh yeah, part of the way that GitHub works or is supposed to work is like you're supposed to put the issues like in order of priority. So it's like the issue that appears at the very top is like the highest priority issue, and then they kind of go down. I mean, our GitHub is a little bit disorganized, which is a little bit of a challenge, but I think like we can also just like improve our use of GitHub. We are also we were also I mean, the other thing is that like things that were in the sprint backlog versus the backlog pipeline should be issues that are like being taken on and actively worked on like this week. And then like there really shouldn't be more than one issue per contributor in progress, because like the issues that are in progress, like your issue should be in progress in that pipeline only if you're actually working on it. So it's like when you're not working on it anymore, you can move it back or move it forward. But just to kind of like keep people kind of like focusing and closing tasks like one at a time. You know, some are bigger and some are smaller. So, but I think that's like, you know, GitHub hygiene. And I think, yeah, we could implement that a little bit better with our contributors to keep things more organized.
Okay. All right, cool. Then I'd say like then let's table this, and maybe it then comes down more to like more efficient use. Those are really good tips. Those are also like things that can be, and then along with like the prioritize me label. Yeah. Okay, cool. All right, I'll move on from this topic actually to, so we have a couple of things left. There's like documentation overhaul is written here, and the Gitcoin outreach list, and then we definitely want to talk about the Project Owners 101 course. So the documentation overhaul, what was this again exactly? Actually, someone had added this.
I don't know about an overhaul, but we just have to make a couple updates because of the translations that were done in Spanish and Turkish. And so the problem is that we told them not to translate a bunch of old documentation, like the stuff for Giveth Trace, some things about like Giveth history and finance, and yeah, just like old stuff. But the problem is the way that our documentation is made is that if there's no translated article, it default shows the English one. So we have all this stuff that shows, and 90% of it is in English, but then, or in whatever, Spanish or Turkish, and then it's like shows up in English, the stuff that we didn't get them to translate. And there's no workaround. Like I've talked to Mateo and Carlos, and I've gone through the documentation, and there's no way to do it. So what we can do is take all of the stuff that we decided that is no longer relevant or worthy to be translated and put it in like an archive section. And then the actual archived article is translated, but the documentation that it points to is in English only. And then we can like explain that to the user in whatever language that needs to be.
Okay, so you're talking about articles that are written that are like pointing to documentation, but the article is translated, but the documentation is not. Therefore, it translates the article also to English. Did I get that right?
Well, I don't know what you just said.
Okay, maybe.
So
yeah.
There's no translation of the article. So there's no Spanish version, there's no Turkish version, because we decided that it wasn't worth paying somebody to do it because it was just stuff.
Okay.
So by default, the way that Docusaurus is set up is that if there's no translation, it shows the default, which is English. So what we can do is we can remove all of those ones from their current places and put them inside of like an archive folder, and then just make like an archived article that can be translated. That archived article will explain, this is the old documentation we have. You can find the original files in English here. And then that phrase in itself can be translated, no problem. But then we just explain to the user that like this old documentation is only available in English. And then we can totally remove it from the view of the other stuff, and then it doesn't mess up our our translation, essentially.
Hey, Mitch, quick question. Is it possible to like literally write down that message in every part that has no translation? Will that make sense?
Sure. Well, no, because you. I don't know. I think it's a really like cumbersome fix. I mean, if like the stuff is old and we're not really using it, like we can still make it accessible through like an archive section, but I don't know. Yeah, there's just like it does all these weird things because it's not made to be used like that.
I don't have any objections to things being archived, but could we call it something more like legacy documentation, or like choose a word like this rather than like archive?
Legacy documentation. Wow. Okay. Yeah, whatever you want to call it, but we just have to set it up.
Would it also then remove it from the English tree structure?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it would just basically everything that's not translated gets removed and pulled into this like archive section.
And is there an easy way for us to see which sections would be archived? Like, do you have a list of these?
I'm gonna make a list.
Okay. Well, no objections from my point. Those are just the things that popped up.
And if there's stuff that you want to keep, like really think is important, we can pay somebody to translate them, but we have to pay somebody to translate them. So there's your consideration. And I'm looking at making a bounty for these guys to make new documentation, like our regen farm documentation, our give farm extension, anything else.
Sounds good.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Do you have the input then that you need to move forward on it? Sounds good to me.
Yeah, if there's no objections, basically we're going to be removing, well, I'll post a list of the stuff that will be removed and pulled into this archive section. And if there's no objections, then I'll just go ahead and do it. And then we can finally have the Spanish and Turkish translations live, because they've been done for weeks. It's just like we haven't found a solution.
Yeah, that sounds great. It'd be awesome to get those up there.
Yeah.
Okay. Then I'm gonna move to this Gitcoin outreach list. I think Suga, you mentioned this specifically, right?
Yeah, me again. Well, okay, so this takes us to a couple of issues we were just talking about. One being like the timeline. It's just we have this huge database now of all the Gitcoin grants, and we want to outreach to the ones that seem that would be a good fit for Giveth, and we just haven't tackled that massive list. So I know a couple of folks are working on it, like Claire and Nicola, and just that's all. Just I wanted to kind of push again for that because I myself haven't committed enough time to that. So it's just there's an issue for that, and it's just one of these massive documents that we just have to kind of take pieces out, each one of us, and contact them. So just kind of a push for that. I guess you're probably not tagged in that either. I'll tag you in that too.
Yeah. Okay. So it's one of the so it's an issue. Yeah, I mean that's just going to be a matter of probably like going through and maybe just assigning groups of those, like to split them up across the team.
I'd like to add something to that. The initial plan of action was that we were going to do sort of cold messaging outreach, but that didn't prove very successful through Twitter because lots of people's DMs are blocked. So we were about to start a new approach whereby we go and interact a bit with Twitter feeds, and so the whole thing is a bit more organic and a bit more long-winded than we had originally set out to do. So Suga, I just wanted to quickly catch up with you on that one to see whether the sort of new approach that was suggested on the issue is something that we would now like to go ahead with.
Great.
So,
Yes. Okay. Got it. Yes.
Okay, yeah, go ahead and tag me in the issue. Happy to help if I can, also with reaching out and just taking a look at it in general. See if we can split that up even further.
I just wanna say for myself, I don't feel super good about me doing the personal outreach, but I went through like around 300 of the projects from the top, and I'm basically what I'm doing is I am marking those that already are on the platform, and I'm happy to do it for the whole list. I just wanted to give you a heads up that for like 250 projects from, you know, starting from the beginning of the alphabet as it is in the sheet, there are nodes in the projects which are already on the platform, and I am happy to keep doing this.
Great. Thank you.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I want to make sure that we still some time left. So I want to make sure we jump to this, like the project owners 101 course, to ensure that we're making progress on this. I took a look at it in the board earlier, and let me pull up the epic. Like, I think still like one of the biggest things that we need to do here is actually like get everyone assigned, like get all of them with an assignee in place. I found one actually, Nicola, I think you had written something under this one, so I added you as an assignee.
Yeah, I'm working on that one.
Okay, yeah, I saw that. Just make sure, like, if anyone's starting to work on these, like, just add yourself in, because then we'll know that we're like covered. So it looks like, yeah,
But
we've got.
Can somebody give me the power, because I somehow cannot assign myself. I'm not sure if I just don't know how to do it, or.
Yeah. If you don't know how to do it, I mean, you can try it, but like basically it was like here, right next to assignees, and you like click this.
So,
I can give you the power if you don't have it.
You gotta have the power.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that's really like to move this forward is basically we have to get the rest of these assigned. So question for you, I mean, do we want to do that right now? Or can we somehow, because we had this conversation last week already, so I'm just wondering like how I can best facilitate this. And then we can at least all start working on it. And I guess this is going to be divided up by like what people are knowledgeable about speaking to. Do I have that right?
Yeah, it's what they're knowledgeable about. And also, I mean, we could also have somebody who's not knowledgeable do the video, but like write a script and get feedback from somebody who's more knowledgeable.
Yeah. I think it might be the most efficient if we honestly like kind of jump in now and just like assign a couple of these. Are you guys cool with that? I mean, I would just go through. We have only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I think for one instance, like off-ramping your funds is a little bit more technical. Is there anyone in this group that would feel like comfortable like writing a script for that topic?
the difficulty with off-ramping your funds is it will be different depending on which location the project's in. It's kind of a tricky one to do a one-size-fits-all video.
Yeah, I'm not sure that that's going to be a topic that we could make a one-size-fits-all video for. Yeah. Although, I mean, once we have some sort of off-ramping solution or more of like a network or support system for projects and people who want to off-ramp, then we could probably look at making a video at that time. But I feel like at this time, it's so specific to where the project is located that it'll be very difficult.
Okay.
I guess perhaps we could do something where it's a more common solution for some parts of the world and say this applies to projects that are based here. maybe. I think that one needs a little bit of thinking about how best to approach it. Happy to report back next week.
I suppose we could do something generic, like you'll need to find an exchange in your area, just use the word exchange rather than telling them, and then they have to do the research on the exchange on their own and which one's good in their area. We just use generic terms and yeah, it will take some more thought.
Okay. Do you think Ashley, I can throw you into this one for at least brainstorming on that? Or
yeah,
maybe
put Claire on it as well.
And stick me on it as well, Corey.
Is that Claire? Sorry,
yes,
I'm not
it is.
Okay. All right, let's just do that. And can I actually put 2 assignees on this? Does it let me do that? Doesn't it let me do that? I'm just gonna add. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, you can actually you can assign people, like where right now it says Claire there. You can also just like click assignees and then type in wild.
Yeah.
Oh, you have to do it like individually.
Mhm.
Okay, cool. Yeah, awesome. I mean, the idea is just to get that at least like people to brainstorm on this or like bring up these kind of issues. I think the rest are probably are easier in that sense though, because they're not that technical. Like we have successful projects, how to make your project stand out. Policies is maybe a little bit more intricate. Is there someone that feels like a little bit more knowledgeable in that or comfortable there?
I think for some like these, a mod will probably be
Yeah, a mod might be able to help. And then what do you mean by policies?
I'm actually also wondering the same thing, to be honest.
Yeah, I
Like,
think
are we
the mod's feedback is. I think we need
Yeah.
his feedback on that because he kind of like set up the skeleton, so I'm sure he has like ideas of what should be included in this.
There was also, I think, a spreadsheet that he made at one point in time that might have a little more detail in it. Do you remember the link for that? You might find it in there.
I actually don't know. I need to find that. I don't know if I have that link right now.
I think I have that somewhere. I'll try to find it and post it somewhere with this issue. I don't know that there's a whole lot more detail in it, but I'll find it.
Okay. I know we're at time and I want to respect people's times, but I think then it would just be really nice if we could get at least, okay, like off-ramping your funds is like, you guys are assigned to it. There's a bit of brainstorming there. Policies, I wrote a comment there for a mod for clarification and we can try to find the document. But basically like our guide to promoting your project should be pretty, I'm going to see which one I can take. I'm just going to have to like learn about it and then do it. But I think I'm happy to take one of these, how to make your project stand out or guides promoting your project. Examples of successful projects. These are pretty simple ones, I guess, right? So we just need
The
3
guide
more.
to promoting your project, could that cross-reference the guide that you just created, Claire? Do you think you could post a link to the document in there and maybe that could be helpful for whoever takes on that video?
Yeah, I'll post a link.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, okay, so let's do that. Otherwise, yeah, I'll maybe post some reminders in the Discord and let's just get these assigned out over the next days. That would be great because then we can actually like get some movement on this.
Thanks, Corey. I'll make sure to put some attention towards it this next week too. I think it could help push some of this stuff forward.
Okay, cool, because then we're gonna use it for Facebook. It's gonna be awesome. Yeah, thanks a lot, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your days. And talk to you soon.
Thanks, Corey.
Thanks, Corey.
Thanks.